Welcome to the African Cup and the South African Triathlon Championships, presented by Old Mutual Wealth, being staged at Hobie Beach, Gqeberha. Beautiful scenes, beautiful weather here in Nelson Mandela Bay, Shark Rock Pier in the foreground, beautiful oceans. Triathletes have descended on Nelson Mandela Bay from all over the country, in fact from all over the world, with 24 countries represented in the various races. Athletes young and old preparing for the age group championship. Even have a tandem for the para triathletes, Gavin Kilpatrick and his guide David Taylor. Gavin Kilpatrick, of course, went to the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham last year, one of South Africa's top para triathletes. Down to the beach at Hobie Beach, it'll be a 1.5 kilometer ocean swim. The triathletes, the male age groupers, getting ready. Mko Tabata, one of the top up-and-coming triathletes amongst that group. As they head out to the ocean, they'll go straight out, turn around 3 green buoys and come back 750 meters times 2 laps. So pushing on through the gentle waves, looking for open water, alternatively trying to swim on the feet of a swimmer in front of you, which gives you a bit of an advantage. Out front, we're expecting the likes of Carl White and Rudolf Nordia. Good crowd down at Hobie Beach for the championship as the age group ladies get underway for their race. Exactly the same distances, 1.5 kilometer swim, 40 kilometer bike and a 10 kilometer run. Once again, very congested in the early stages of the ocean swim. And here we see Carl White coming out after a phenomenal swim over 1,500 meters. And he's on his way to transition number 1 to get ready for the 40 kilometer bike. The transition, always an important area. Athletes have to change from swim to bike very speedily, and out onto the road they go. And that'll be Elnie Owen pushing her bike out onto the Marine Drive. It's a lap circuit. There we have Byron Kruger, Bruce Campbell, another of the Eastern Cape's top triathletes, Nelson Mandela Bay Triathlon Tri-Suit. It is a non-draft race for the age groupers. That's why you will see the gaps. And over here we have Jordan Tissink doing very well on the bike. Rudolf Nordia, last year's champion, going very strongly indeed. Onto the run. Bruce Campbell probably off the bike in about 5th or 6th position. Carl White, one of the youngsters in the field, also doing very well. Nadia Ghost, Ironman athlete, very well-known professional Ironman athlete in the social race. Matty Rolfs, he had a phenomenal bike. Only one athlete going under an hour for the bike, and it was him. 55 minutes and 14 seconds. Jordan Tissing, also fantastic bike, 64 minutes, and she is going very well indeed. Matty Rolfs takes line honours in the men's age group race, and Jordan Tissing wins the women's event. Well done to them. Matthew Rolfs, 151.48, Rudolf Nordia second, Shangi had the fastest run, then Jordan Tissing taking the honours in the ladies' race, followed by Rihanna Robertson. On to the Africa Cup for junior men. 30-odd athletes racing into the ocean. And this is where surf skills come in handy. The coastal athletes will have an advantage, but Christian Hatting and Jamie Smuts are the two expected to be out in front, followed by KZN's Delport and Erskine. And it is Hatting who comes out with about a 10-second lead over Smuts. And also from Zimbabwe, Mawera, struggling a little bit in the ocean, but persevering nonetheless. Quick transition for Delport and Erskine. They'll be going out 3rd and 4th. 20 kilometer bike for them, 750 meter swim. And they'll have a 5 kilometer run afterwards. The two KZN athletes encouraging each other, trying to work well together. It is draft legal. And there's Sean Bolford, come out the water 40 seconds behind. He's bridged the gap up to the leaders. And here he's powerful on the run, running to victory. Sean Bolford. They say dynamite comes in small packages, and that's definitely the case with him. Christian Hutting, who held on for 4th position. He heads towards the finish, and there we have some more of the finishers in the Junior Africa Cup. What an experience for these young athletes. Onto the Africa Cup for junior women. What a competitive field. We got Annika Visser, last year's winner, Cadence Rubink, who won the Africa Cup at Mazelsport, and then the United States, Brittany Brown, who comes out the water with a commanding lead. She was from Gqeberha, but her parents moved to the USA, and it's their gain as Cadence Rubink comes out in second place, about 30 or 40 seconds back, and then it's Robin Ho from Nelson Mandela Bay Try and Anya van As from Zimbabwe. But Brown powering away on the bike. In a draft legal race, it's a big advantage for the chasers being able to work together. And there Cadence Rubink is trying to pull the group and try and close that gap to Brown, but Brown is all powerful. Kiara Herman turning at the turn point and back towards the finish line. Mia van der Veen also right up there in the hunt for a top 10 placing. That's Visser coming into transition, followed by the NMB triathlete. Then it will be a 5-kilometer run. Frenetic in transition, trying to get those shoes on as quickly as they can, get out onto this 5-kilometer course. Western Province athlete on her way out. And right now, Brittany Brown takes line honours with a comfortable win. Well done to her. Junior men, Sean Wolfhard, the champion, 59.06. And Brittany Brown takes the junior women's title with a time of 65.02. And there, Trevor Pascoe of the sponsors Old Mutual Wealth presenting the medals to our top junior women and top junior men. Then it's the time of the para-triathletes, the South African Para-Triathlon Championships. Some of them going alone, some of them with guides, particularly the visually impaired. They need guides. Can you imagine swimming in the ocean when you can't see? It's bad enough when you've got goggles on and you can see what's happening. But there we have some of the athletes heading out for their 750-meter swim, encouraged by the spectators down here at Hobie Beach. Catherine Flanagan is on her way up the steps, and there's Gavin Kilpatrick with his guide David Taylor. Kirsty Weir, former champion runner, now into the para-triathlon. Flanagan did the 70.3 Ironman just a short while ago, 2 weeks ago in fact. And then we have Lindsay Engelbrecht, who also went to the Commonwealth Games. There's Kirsty Weir on her way to victory in the para-triathlon. And these two athletes looking for some much needed refreshment and hydration. And Engelbrecht, then we have Kilpatrick, who will take the title in the men's, and Engelbrecht taking the title in the women's. And look at the joy on the faces of those two athletes, followed by Catherine Flanagan and her partner. Well done to them. Devlo coming across the line. A long day out, but well done to him. Devlo, we are very proud of you.
Rachel Klamer from the Netherlands, fourth in the last Olympics. That was a stunning performance. I presume you're still on the moon on that one.
I'm very happy with that. Beforehand, I would definitely signed off if someone would have told me top 5. So I'm definitely happy with that. Absolutely.
All concentration under starters' orders for the 1.5 kilometer swim, the Olympic distance triathlon.
Right, with me, the 2018 Olympic Youth Champion, the NCAA Champion, Amber Schlebusch. You are starting to build a really good CV. How are you feeling for this race?
I'm pretty excited. You know, it's the first competitive Olympic distance, so I'm a little nervous as usual, but I think that it's definitely something that needs to obviously get done with getting older, and couldn't ask to do it in a better place. You know, this is my home country, so I'm pretty excited.
Very competitive female field. Many countries represented, everybody seeking ranking points. There's Amber Schlebusch at the head of affairs early on, very strong out through the ocean. But as they reach the buoy, it's Anne Holm from Denmark who takes up the lead, followed by a whole lot of Dutch women. 3 or 4 from the Netherlands in this race. And there we have the all-important coastal rescue. Anne Holm coming out for the finish of the first lap from Denmark. Netherlands, Netherlands, Netherlands again. And Amber Schlebusch trying to remain in touch. Then we've got the Austrian and Slovakian. And home from Denmark, a very powerful swimmer. And the athletes from the Netherlands taking good advantage and trying to stay with her as we see 4 athletes heading to shore. And home first out of the water. And then it's the 3 Dutch ladies. Barbara de Koning, of course, won in Mazelsport, the African Cup, and Rachel Klamer, knowing that she needs to stay in touch to get into this bike bunch. 4th in the Olympic Games. She's full of experience, nursing a little bit of a hamstring, but doing very well indeed. The athletes are in transition, getting their helmets on. Shoes will be on the bike already. They'll push the bike out. There's a mount and dismount line that they have to adhere to, otherwise they get a penalty. So they will go beyond the mount line, jump on the bike and head out for the 40 kilometers. Look at that mount, how quick it is. A little bit slower behind, but everybody trying their best. And Rachel Klamer has made up that small deficit. She should be able to get into that group of 4 who will probably work their way away. And in the background there you see Amber Schlebusch on her own. She's going to probably get caught by the second pack Danish athlete, followed by Barbara de Koning. Lovely paint job on that bike. There we can see 4 kilometers out, turn just before the Pine Lodge turn off, 4 kilometers back. They're coming past the Humid Golf Club. And it's Rachel Klamer encouraging the other women to work together to build up a lead, because they know there are some very strong runners in the chasing pack. Back at really good speeds here on the Nelson Mandela Bay beachfront. Holm and de Koning. This is the chase pack. Amber Schlebusch has been caught by the other 4 riders: Hannah Newman, Tanja Strohschneider of Austria, Romana from Slovakia, and Sarah from Austria. So a nice pack here working together, trying to minimize the damage that has been done on the swim. Back to the front of the field, and the 3 Dutch ladies up in front, followed by Anne Holm of Denmark. Some very powerful bikers in this group, in particular de Koning. Chase pack, looks like they are working as hard as they can, but the gap is still opening. 2 South Africans, 2 Austrians, and 1 athlete from Slovakia. Strohschneider, she was here last year, got onto the podium, working hard to try and repeat that effort. The conditions very nice indeed for these athletes. Very little wind, although there is a breeze. It's a very flat course, 5 laps of 8 kilometers. They'll be looking for a time close to the 1 hour mark, which equates to about a 40 kilometer an hour average. Remember, they are allowed to draft each other, so they are getting a benefit. And here we see Harm and de Koning have broken away from Klamer and Skrabanya. So we now have a 2-person group up front, followed by another 2-person group, and then we have 4 or 5 in the big chase pack. So it'll be interesting to see what the gaps are coming into the finish. Here we see Barbara de Koning and Anne Holm of Denmark coming in together. It's all about a quick transition, and there we have a super quick transition, but we dropped the nutrition. We got to go back for it. Partly because we need the nutrition. Secondly, we don't want to be littering. There we have a very strong runner indeed, Tanja Strohschneider, heading out onto the course. A Slovakian lady, Vicky van der Merwe of South Africa, and Betty Tiernissen in the company of Van den Berg, also of Netherlands. A very competitive field, and Barbara de Koning it is who comes across to take line honours here in Nelson Mandela Bay, the Africa Premier Triathlon Cup. Great ranking points for her. She's having a good tour of Southern Africa, and also very important, besides water safety, to have the medics on hand when they're a little exhausted. There we have confirmation of that result. Amber Schlebusch made her way through the field to get second in her first ever Olympic distance. Strohschneider in third, back on the podium, Rachel Klamer in 4th.
Barbara, fantastic victory. This is a good South African tour for you so far. 2 wins. How's it feel?
Yeah, it feels really great. I'm really happy to be here. It was a good race. Everything went to plan. So yeah, I'm really happy with the win today.
Your South African trip, you're going to do 4 races in Southern Africa, all about ranking points.
Yes, definitely for World Triathlon points. Yeah, it's been good so far. Unfortunately, I got an intestinal infection after the last one, so my preparation wasn't very ideal. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to bounce back, just did the best I could on the day, and yeah, came away with the win. So yeah, hope to continue.
Onto the Africa Premier Cup for men, and Jared Douglas receiving some last-minute instructions. Keegan Cook getting some much-needed encouragement, and his former teammate, Jamie Riddle.
With me, Jamie Riddle, 6th in the Commonwealth Games last year. You won this event last year. You got the number 1 on the chest there. What are you feeling like defending your title?
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of pressure being grown up here in Quebec, but pressure makes diamonds, and I'm looking forward to the challenge ahead. I'm very confident in my abilities over the swim bike run distance, so we're just going to have to see, give it our best.
Andreas Salversberg from Switzerland led off the bike in the Tokyo Olympics. What are you hoping for today?
A strong and fast race with Jamie Riddle. We discussed we're going to push the swim, we're going to push the bike, and yeah, I really have to hope I can stay on his feet in the swim, but for sure we're going to work so hard on the bike to make that lead group.
Conditions have changed considerably, slightly stronger wind, bigger waves, and 36 internationals head out for the first of 2 laps on this 1.5 kilometre swim. Jamie Riddle at the head of affairs, well known as a strong swimmer in triathlon circles. He'll be trying to get a gap over this lap.
With me, Richard Murray, one of the greatest triathletes ever to come out of South Africa, 4th in the Rio Olympics. Now, Richard, you've raced all over the world in many African Cups. The standard of this field today, what does it feel like?
No, it's amazing. When I saw that there were like almost 40 elite athletes from all over the globe coming here to race in Hobie Beach, I thought it was amazing. And I've done a lot of the BSG and the Energy 8 Series races here since I was a teenager, and it's amazing to be back, and it's great to be racing. And I think it's definitely goes to show, I think a lot of athletes are coming to South Africa to try and get points for the world ranking, and yeah, it's amazing to have a place here. The weather's perfect. We couldn't ask for a better day here today.
So we can see a little bit of break in the packs. There's about 8 or 10, maybe 12 athletes got a little bit of a gap over the chasing pack. And this is what Riddle and Salversberg, Tyler Smith from Bermuda have been plotting in an effort to get a group away from the danger man, which will be Richard Murray. Of course, finished in the 4th in the Rio Olympics, an exceptionally strong runner. These guys do not want to be run down by the likes of Richard Murray, and they're pushing hard on the swim. Aloy Knabel of Austria gets away first out of the water from Riddle in second, and then a group of about 8 or 10 will be chasing to try and form a strong pack on the 40-kilometer bike route. And here comes the chasing pack. Richard Murray, the Kazakh athlete, a whole host of athletes, one there from Egypt. And look how fast this transition is. Into the box, helmet on, bicycle, 5 seconds, and on his way. Followed by many of the other triathletes here. There's Andreas Salversberg. If you're confused about the South African colours, he's a double Olympian from Switzerland. His tri-suit never arrived and had to borrow a neutral suit, and kept him in the race, which is important. There Riddle turns, followed by the Greek athlete. Another one of the Austrians, very powerful pack. Richard Murray doing all he can with the second group. And what you'll find is now there was a 35-second gap at the start of the bike. You've got about 8 or 10 athletes up front working hard. You've got about 16 athletes working behind. But a big group like this does lose a bit of momentum at a hard turn, like we're seeing in the picture right there. And now you can see Riddle talking to the athletes, Taros from Greece talking to the athletes. They're trying to get this train moving. We call it a train in cycling terms. And there they take a turn again. That'll be the Murray group. All the time trying to keep the front guys in check. It's probably stretched out over to a minute. Nice crowd support on the side of the road here on the beachfront in Nelson Mandela Bay. You can see now they're working really well together. With Martin de Myth going through, coming past the Humid Golf Club. There's Martin de Myth and Riddle at the head of affairs. Then the Barbados athlete. All working really well together, and the gap is stretching all the time. Athletes working really hard after a hard turn, and that's the Murray group. Here's the front group once again. The gap halfway through this race was about 1.5 minutes. They'd picked up a minute. They're pushing hard to try and get this out to 2 minutes or so, knowing then it'll be almost impossible for Richard Murray to come back. Riddle telling the athletes, come on guys, let's work. At the dismount line, they have to dismount their bikes before that red line. They're into transition with a 2-minute 45 gap over Richard Murray's group, and this is exactly what these athletes would have wanted. Another quick transition required, shoes on, and out they will go for a 10-kilometer 4-lap route. Riddle and Tyler Smith, followed by Turner of Great Britain. The first 3 out of transition, followed by Bitaros of Greece. Then we have the Polish athlete, Egypt, Barbados. No sign of James Edgar, who was in that group. Keegan Cook and Caleb Maestri having a tough day, but still going strong. James Edgar has recovered from a poor transition into the top 5. And Jamie Riddle, at the 3-kilometer mark, suffers with some cramps after a 12-second lead has now dissipated. The second athlete is back up with Riddle, and it's going to be a tough race. Here we have 3rd, 4th and 5th, Smith, Edgar and Turner. Many internationals represented in this race in Nelson Mandela Bay, and a duel up front, probably 50 or 60 meters ahead of the chasing pack. Bitaros, nicknamed Gigi, and Jamie Riddle, working hard, working each other over. Here they lap one of the athletes from the Netherlands. Further back, Maestri and Cook, Demuth. To the final lap here in Nelson Mandela Bay. Bitaros still going strong. Smith and Turner, they're fighting for prize money in the top 5. And Riddle bursts away to get a victory here in Nelson Mandela Bay, the Old Mutual Wealth Africa Premier Cup. What a victory for the man born right here in Gqeberha. Followed by Gigi Bitaros of Greece. This youngster is a promising prospect for the future. There we have the results. 14 nations in the top 15. Phenomenal results. And in 7th place was Richard Murray, who just missed the top 6 with a blistering run. Well done to him.
With me, the winner, Jamie Riddle. That was an incredible dogfight, Jamie.
Yeah, that was fighting some demons. Just setback after setback throughout the race, but luckily I was super fit going into the race, so I was able to overcome each obstacle that was thrown at me. I mean, I'm very proud of that in front of my home crowd. I could see everyone wanted it just as bad as I did, so I couldn't let it go.
Tell us a little bit about the cramps. You had a good lead going into the second lap.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the whole day, I mean, with the ocean, it's just, you know, the waves, we got quite unlucky. Luckily, I did have a good bike group of about 8 to 10 guys that really worked well, that allowed us to get that buffer. Hitting the run, I felt so good. I've never felt that good hitting the run, and I could see by my splits on my watch that I was running strong and I didn't feel like I was entering any heavy zones. But yeah, 3 kilometers in, I just had to stop and start stretching because my hammies just, I don't know what happened, but just went. And then I just had to, you know, play the game, and luckily I love the satisfaction of the hunt more than the kills. So it was actually quite good battling with Gigi. He's an incredible guy, so yeah.